Hello everybody and welcome back to Operation Logistics, where we are implementing a progress bar. I mean, this could be used for basically any bar that fills up, health bars or resource bars or anything like that. For our purposes, these are mostly time bars. So the way I want this to work is, for example, we'll take this 90 per month upkeep, okay? This isn't actually what we're running with, probably. But for right now, that's what we're going to do. So, I want it to be constantly charging you, basically on an hourly basis. So, we would go into a calculator, and we'd figure out how many hours are there in a month. So we'll say that the month is... We'll just go by 30 days. So 30 times 24, 720 hours, divided by 90. So it should charge you once $1 every 8 hours, according to that. So then every hour, this bar would get closer to filling, and then once it filled, you'd be charged one of your dollars. That's essentially how I'm thinking that's going to be working. And then the sorting will be exactly the same way, except that's on a, I believe, hourly basis. But that's the idea. So we're going to be needing a public vector3 empty position and a public vector3 filled position. And then down here, float new progress, and then we're going to have a string label equals nothing. So if the label equals nothing, then we will go ahead and just calculate what it should be, what it should say. However, we can pass it in, so let's go ahead and implement that right now. So if label equals nothing, do something else, we are going to just simply say bar label dot text equals label. Like so. So this do something here, we would need to calculate, like, what is... Say we pass in 0.5f, so it's 50% of the way there. That would be all we would need to do. It'll probably just... The default will have it be a percentage. So then bar label dot text would be equal to... Is there a... I'm sure there is. I'm sure there's a two-string percentage format. Yeah, it's just p. So it would then be new progress dot toString p. Like so. That's just going to be our default, and we're probably not going to be doing that most of the time, but if we pass in nothing in here, then it'll just default to a percentage. Now, all we need to do for the fill bar is fillbar dot anchored position, rather rect transform dot anchored position is going to be set to vector3 dot lerp between the empty position and the filled position, with the progress being, or rather with the time being, new progress. And actually we can set the progress to be the new progress, and then just use progress. And we can do that up here as well, in case we want to do any transformation to new progress at some point later on down the road. But that's literally all it is right there. And then all we have to do is go into Unity and put in our progress bar once that compiles in. Come on. There we go. Okay, and then put that in here. And the progress bar, we're going to go ahead and delete these for right now. The progress bar is going to need the fill bar, and it's going to need the bar label. And then the current progress is 0, obviously. We can bump that up to whatever we want. 0 and 1 is what we're going to be clamping it to, and we should probably check that. actually. So progress equals mathf.clamp. Actually, I believe they have... yeah. Clamps between 0 and 1. Perfect. I've actually never used that function before. That's a nice little shortcut. I like it. Thanks, Unity. Okay, so the empty position here would essentially be for the fill bar. Let's have this be at a pivot point of 0.5. No, let's have it be at a pivot point of 0. I'm not actually sure how this is going to work. For right now, I'm going to go ahead and, for testing purposes only, do a public void update. And this is just going to be update progress bar. And this is going to be progress. Just for testing purposes. We're not going to be leaving this way. But I just want to make sure that our positions are actually working. So, our fill bar is set to 0 right now. So our progress bar should probably have the empty position be at -195 and the filled position at 0 is what I think it should be. Now, this is going to have some errors because we're starting with the hex manager open, which it does not assume that we do. So we're well aware that that's going to be happening, but I mostly just want to come in here and test that the bar is actually working. So there it's at 0.00%. Let's go ahead and bump this up to 0.56. Hey, look at that. We'll place it at 1. We'll place it at 20, and it should go back to 1. We will place this at 0.0005. And yeah, this is working. Fantastic. Okay, now let's make sure that we update our prefab in the UI here. So we'll do that. And then we'll just duplicate this 3 more times. And let's make sure that it works with this scaling. It should be fine because our empty position is set and this doesn't change our X position at all. If our X position changes, though, that's going to be a problem. Now, we could have it auto-generate that. And that's probably going to be the best way to go about doing it, and I think I'm going to go ahead and do that once we're done testing this. So come on, you can do it. There you go. And this should be just fine. We'll just place it at 64%. Yeah. 100% fine. Okay. So let's hop on in here, and I'm going to get rid of this, because we don't want to be calling this, realistically. And then I'm going to do a public void start, and we are going to get a reference to the public image background bar. So we are going to be needing that. So in the prefab, let's set it there, so that the background bar is set to the background bar image. And then let's have the filled position equal to vector3.0. And the empty position, we will simply set to new vector3 0, 0, 0 for now. But this X position is actually not going to be 0. It's going to be background bar dot rect transform dot what am I looking for? Size delta dot X, I believe. So if we then get rid of our empty and filled positions, or rather, let's make them, for right now, let's make them private. Now our progress bar won't have this hard-coded bit, but it should still work perfectly fine, no matter what size it is. So, like, for example, if we were to go into the progress bar layout and change this to 70. Let's see how this works. At least as soon as it loads. Come on, you can do it. Okay. So obviously our text is a bit wrong. It's because our min size is set to 18. Let's set the min size to 8 for right now. Yeah. Yeah, we need to go ahead and do that. So I'm gonna come in here and see if we can't delete these first. And set this min size to about 12. So 12 to 72. We'll go ahead and redo the prefab. Make ourselves our 4 bars. And then it should be a position where this works no matter what the width or height of this is. None of that is hard-coded. It's all calculated at the beginning, technically. So if you change the size during gameplay, it won't actually work. So we should probably calculate that when we update the actual progress bar. Now, I removed the update, so that's not going to work. So I think what I'm going to go ahead and do is say that the empty position is going to be calculated here, rather than here. We'll bring back the public void update for right now. And now this should be extremely flexible. Every frame that it actually gets updated, which won't be every frame technically, but every frame that it actually gets updated, it will calculate where its new position is. And theoretically, this progress bar should be working just fine. Very, very flexible, theoretically. Now, of course, we're going to have a bunch of errors. That's expected. That's interesting. Let's set the progress to 74%. 8%? Yeah, that's definitely not working. Why is that not working? Background bars width should be equal to fill bars. I guarantee you it's getting this out of the size delta. Maybe. Background bar.recttransform.sizedelta.x. This is indeed background bar. So it was right around here. It was at like -1. I mean, this was 195, and I can put it back. It worked at 195, right? But then again, I might have broken it. Let's see if it works at 195. Come on, you can do it. You can do it. Okay, yeah, it's just broken. So let's go to the background bar then, and the question is, why is, or rather, what is our size delta actually giving us? Let's debug.log empty position. So that's the one we need to be worried about, obviously. The filled position is just 0. We'll go ahead and compile that on in. I don't know if we'll need to restart the game or not. We might be a little obnoxious if we did. Yeah, it's giving us 2. A size delta of 2. Which is definitely not what we're looking for here. Let's see if we've got another variable here. We could also potentially go for the parent. Parent.sizeDelta. That's giving us just a regular transform. That's not useful. Okay. There is the rect here. Maybe that's what we're looking for? Rect.width? We'll find out. The reason that size delta didn't work, though, is because we were using the stretch anchor. At least I'm like 95% certain that's why that wasn't working. But we'll see if this actually ends up working. Yeah, that looks right so far. Ooh. Oh, okay. It appears to be filling in from the wrong direction. So we just need to negate it. So negative background bar.rect transform.rect.width. And yeah, that should be negated. That was my fault. I definitely should have negated that from the get-go. So we'll go ahead and clear that. And now it should work fine, no matter the size, or rather, no matter the width, height, or position of, or rotation? As long as you rotate it locally, I think we're fine. Like, as long as we do a rotation here, like this. Actually, I want to go the other way. As long as we go like this, not in the Y direction. Let's go for the Z direction. And of course, this is going to be overwritten a bit, but it should fill right in the normal way. Yeah, perfect. We'll put that rotation back, because that makes no sense. And if we change our progress bar layout to 72, you can see it automatically updated the positioning there. And it's 6%, and we bump that up to 54%. Okay. That seems to be working absolutely perfectly. Excellent. Okay. So the next thing that we'd need to do is implement the updating from the... Where is the... The script is not one of those that is up there. From the hex selection window, we would need to update this, because this is very out of date now with this current design over here. Because obviously we need to fill these bars, we need to fill in the proper text and the text of the vehicle type. And the capacity here wouldn't actually update except that the bar would fill up once it's full. So you'd be able to tell at a glance if a hex was maxed, or if a building was maxed out in its vehicles or not. But that's something for the next episode. I'm going to go ahead and put a cut in here, and we will be implementing that properly updating next time. See you all then.